Hello and welcome to AlphaHub. Today we'll be making a very small network which classifies images. It'll be a shallow network of depth 5. Let's get into it. First, we sign in. As soon as you sign in, you enter the project listing page. You may not have any project here if you're signing it up for the first time. You can create a new project and give it a name, small network. You don't have to choose from a pre-built model because we'll be dealing with them later and they are used for specific tasks. Now, once you create the small network, the first layer is chosen for you. This layer is chosen because currently we support image classification models only, but soon we'll be upgrading it with a layer where you can define your incoming dimensions and then define the network. But for now, the first layer is a convolutional layer. First of all, we'll start by adding a few convolutional layers on the canvas. To do so, you can simply go to the convolutional layers and select the conv2D layer. There are a bunch of ways of doing this. If you click on the settings button on any layer, the first part is what we call the recommendation engine, which tells you what are the next best layers that you can add to your model. And these are the parameters that you need to fill in, but we'll simply copy layers. So copying a layer here also adds the same layer in the view. So there are two ways of adding layers. I'll just drag one more. Now, once we have dragged everything, we'll start connecting them. You need to connect outs to ins. Should be pretty obvious. Also, if you're not sure what these layers are, you can hover over this I button and it tells you what it does. I highly recommend reading about it whenever you find time. Now, when we hit save draft, it says there's a validation error because the required parameters for the con2D second layer is missing, which makes sense. We just drag these layers and we have not provided the parameters that are required. So we click on the settings button and start providing the parameters. Let's say we provide some random number here that we don't know will work or not. We do the same for these layers. And when we save draft, the system says there's an error. It says the value of 32 in conv2d2 is not compatible. Please change it to 64. We'll use this recommendation and change it to 64 and save draft again. And it says the model looks good. So basically, the system is parsing the information through all these layers and finding all the bugs that it can, and then it is helping you with a solution that will help you fix the model. Now, because this is a classification model, you need to add a linear layer. But before that, we also need to consider that all this information that's calculated by the convolutional layers need to be flattened up to go into the linear layer. So we will quickly go to the utility functions and drag a flatten layer here. Now, after this flattened layer, we can add the linear layer. Sorry, this is the correction that I'm adding additionally. This layer will disappear as you continue the video, but you have to add the flattened layer before adding a linear layer. The reason for adding a linear layer is that once an image passes through all these layers, a lot of computation is done and a lot of information is collected by these layers. That information then needs to be transformed into linear space. This is exactly what this layer does. If you click on I here, it tells you what it does. It's basically doing a regression step for you. Once you connect this last layer and go to its settings, you may not know what these incoming features are because it's calculated by all these layers. So you can just choose a random number here, let's say 10. And in the out features, you select the number of outputs you want. So if you're doing a binary classification, let's say between apples and oranges, you put a number 2. If you're trying to detect 10 different fruit categories, then you put a number 10. For now, let's assume that you're doing a binary classification. So we'll put a number 2 here, go out and save draft. It says there's a validation error and it says the number that it needs is 1492992. Let's put that 1492992. And the model looks good. So basically, what this is telling us is if there comes an image with three channels, which is standard for red, green, blue images, this model will process through the information and give you a classification which has two output categories. Now you can simply download this model and you will get a zip package in which you will get a training notebook and this model loaded for you. You can follow the instruction provided in the README and upload the package on Colab to train your model. That's all for today. I'll see you in the next one.